So I'm so honored to have Paul Kim here, and yes, this guy he's the CEO of Big Smile, but also such an influence and such a wise man. We've learned so much from you, but one of the most profound things for me that stood out was really you have very fresh thoughts. You had a question of, tell us more about how do you manage work life. And it's a typical question to ask an entrepreneur, and specifically people that have quite a busy type of scenario, and specifically when you run a business, it's of course. But you had a very fresh perspective on that. I'd love you to share that with us, please.
I would love to. So it was fresh in the sense that maybe it hadn't been heard before, but it's not fresh in the sense that, I mean, the Bible clearly kind of puts it into place, and all I've done is kind of discovered it again and shared it with people. And I think starting off with a question, often there's assumptions hidden in a question, and some big assumption here is that there needs to be a balance between work and life, which underlying that is the assumption that work and life are antithetical to each other, which if you go to Genesis 1, it's not the case. The framing there is work and rest. God worked for 6 days and rested the seventh. And also infused in the idea is that some people will see that as work being bad and life being good, and you've got to figure out how to minimize your works so that you can do more with your life.
Right.
And so to speak against that, work in essence was given to us in Genesis 1:28. So meaning work existed before the fall. And so work is incredibly important, incredibly sacred. Incredibly important, firstly, because it was one of the main mandates given to us as humans.
Sure.
So 1:28, I think, speaks about subduing and ruling. In terms of just ratio of time, God spent 6 days working and the seventh day rest. So 6 to 7 is a huge chunk of work. And I know a lot of people kind of will respond against this negatively. And the reason why they respond negatively is we've created a mercenary culture to work, meaning work is there to get stuff more for us. So if you're working more, it indicates that you're selfish.
Right.
And the second thing that's gone wrong with it is we're experiencing the effects of the fall. So Genesis chapter 3 speaks about the 3 curses, snake, woman, and man. Man specifically, three sub-curses, but all of them related to work, in fact. The one being, with the sweat of your brow you will eat, meaning in contrast to Garden of Eden, we now have to work in order to eat.
Right.
Pain and frustration, and toil, and the idea that you can work hard and not experience any fruit.
Sure.
But that is as a result of the fall. Work in itself is a good thing that we're commanded to do.
Sure.
And we need to redeem work. And so the first thing is, life is about obsession around God. So there's no balance there. It is 100% full on for God. And then within that, how do the subcomponents fit in that context of where God is the center? So obviously work is outside of God. But it needs to be orientated towards God.
Sure.
And so I think just some key things: if your family is crying for your attendance, that's a good sign that work is now it's becoming too much.
Right.
Where you are failing and it hits your identity, work has become too much.
Sure.
I think pre-fall, all failure would have led to learning. Post-fall, it is sinful when you don't learn from your failure, because it typically means your identity is rooted in it.
Sure.
And you can't learn from it because you've just been broken completely.
Right.
And so work-rest balance is what we should be seeking for. But having said that, work is such a massive mandate for us to go out there, create culture. And just to end off, you see the picture of the Bible starting with the garden. You see it ending off with city. How does one get from a garden to city? A lot of work is done in the process. And so, final point, people often say, I don't live to work. You work to live. That is biblically not true. One of the main reasons we were created was to work. So we do genuinely live to work. But we've just got to do it in a redemptive way.
Sure. Thank you so much.